Welcome to the podcast. There are about 32 motives plus why Savannah Guthrie of NBC might have made her mother, Nancy, a target for abduction. Let's start with the fact back in 2024, she goes on the Stephen Colbert show, Late Night with Stephen Colbert, and she's mocking the Republican National Committee chairwoman, uh, this lady, Ronna McDaniel, who is a Mitt Romney Pratt family member, who was the chair of the Republican National Committee. And all these folks at NBC, these leftist media folks, uh, McDaniel was hired by NBC to be a political correspondent, contributor, and within 1 week of her hiring, she was fired. Now, also, you got to look at the fact that Ronna McDaniel, as head of the Republican National Committee, lost during her tenure in that position, lost 8 gubernatorial races, lost 4 seats in the United States Senate, and 20 seats in the United States House of Representatives. And then eventually Trump asked her to step down from that position around the same time that Savannah Guthrie is releasing this book, really weird book about what God does. The book, her position has always been that she has supported diversity, equity, and inclusion, which challenges many of the conservative and right wing political positions. But she goes on Stephen Colbert show, the Stephen Colbert show, and she's mocking the firing of this former head of the Republican National Committee. And then she goes on to make all these political statements, and you've got to watch the YouTube video. I have the graphic here. You can go online. It's only about 5 minutes and 50 seconds, but you can hear all the things that she's talking about as she's promoting this new book. And her position has always been supporting LGBTQIA. Her position has always been very progressive liberal, but then she's challenging the policies of the current administration. She's at this time that she's on April 3rd, 2024. We're looking at right before the 2024 election. She's making comments about the office of the president, the different uh, folks that are on NBC, and all these media people were about to boycott NBC. And then Savannah Guthrie even says during this interview that NBC were wrong in their decision to hire Ronna McDaniel, and that they eventually came to she generalizes, they eventually came to their senses and admitted their mistake. Well, you got to look at the whole Anthony Bourdain from CNN, parts unknown, Anthony Bourdain, parts unknown. He challenged the Weinstein brothers, Harvey Weinstein. He mocked Bill and Hillary Clinton, describing Bill Clinton as a groupie and a pervert. And he didn't really realize the relationship there. Jeff Zucker of CNN is personal friends with Harvey Weinstein and the Clintons and all these folks. And then you've got to look at the whole Prince Andrew, King Charles III, stripping him of his titles, and the whole Jeffrey Epstein case. This is crazy because you got to look at Bob Simon of CBS, Bob Simon, and his 60-minute show. He ends up getting killed in a limousine. Last minute, his limousine driver, his livery driver, is changed to some guy who's an Afghan immigrant living in a homeless shelter who had tried to commit suicide previously. And as a result of him, this driver trying to commit suicide, he lost full use of his left arm. Then he had so many different, 9 traffic violate suspensions of his license previously, and even when he was changed as the driver last minute to come pick up CBS Bob Simon, who was going to release a special on an upgrade of the Lost Boys of the Sudan, which would pretty much make Obama and them look a little bit wacky for what has gone on in the Sudan, South Sudan, especially all these topplings of different countries. And he was going to release this special. He had originally started with the Lost Boys of the Sudan special, but you have to look at the politics and the religion related to this. And then suddenly he dies in this crash. This driver who can't use his left hand, who's had 9 driver's license suspensions and even 2 violations at the time that he's picking up CBS Bob Simon, is driving erratically through New York City. He crashes into a car. He's hitting guardrails, and then he eventually crashes into one of these posts that, just don't move, no matter even if a truck hits them. And Bob Simon from CBS is in the back seat. He goes, according to the reports, flying forward and ends up dying. Well, we got to talk about Daphne Galizia. Daphne Galizia was an anti-corruption journalist in Malta. They, for years, the prime minister there and the Knights of Malta, which is called the Anglo-Catholic Knights of Malta, dating back to 1099, AD 1099. This corrupt organization in the world are international bankers, the Knights Templar, the Knights Teutonic, the Jesuits, the Knights of St. John. They go all the way back 927 years ago, and they were pretty much the bankers to the Pope. Well, in Malta, there was so much corruption, and if you know anything about the Panama Papers, exposed all these Maltese officials that were selling passports to places like Azerbaijan and getting $1 million from different Muslims and people of the Islamic faith to give them passports. And all this was going on, and she started uncovering this as an investigative journalist and a blogger. And then the next thing, they kill her dog to try to threaten her to stop writing and reporting. They threaten her family members, and ultimately they car bomb her. Wow. So I'm going to tell you something. These home invasions and abductions, one of the ways that they corrupt people and clandestine organizations stage home invasions is to have a decoy. A decoy. Somebody shows up to your house, you don't recognize them, they're a stranger, they get you to open the door, and then you get bum rushed and you disappear. Who are you?
This is in 1913?
No. Well, there's a lot of things to think about, and I'm going to keep this short and sweet this week. You can read the rest of the written blog.